between the cluster means inter-cluster distance is maximized. Means when we concentrate about the cluster C1 and C2. So when the distance between C1 and C2 is maximized, then we can say it is the better cluster. Okay, and second parameter is inter-cluster distance. Inter-cluster distance means here C1, and when we compute the distance between the objects. Okay, so once we compute the distance between objects, so it is necessary that these distance is minimum. Okay, so how minimum we can compute the distance? We can say it is the better cluster. Okay, so these two parameters means inter-cluster distance is maximized and intra-cluster distance is minimized. Okay, so here is some example. You just see this is the intra-cluster distance. Here you can see this is the inter-cluster distance. So inter-cluster distance must be minimum and intra-cluster distance must be maximum, so that we can say the cluster is good. Okay, some another example is here. On the basis of their characteristics, we form two groups, one cluster group and another cluster group. Okay, so this data is divided into two clusters, and here you can see based on the characteristics of data, here we can form four types of cluster, four different clusters. Okay, so these objects have some similarities between each other, and here is the dissimilarities is more. Okay, so this is the example how we can say, or how we can say that this cluster is better or not, and how we can form the cluster actually. Okay, so this is the formula through which we can compute the distance between two objects and distance between two cluster. Okay, so this is the formula you just seen, dxi xj. Okay, is summation of k is equal to 1 to d, and this x ik minus x jk to the power p and whole the power of 1 by p. And on the basis of this priority p, we can compute the different types of algorithms or the distance. When the value of p is equal to 2, here we can say this is the Euclidean distance. We can say this is the Euclidean distance, and when we talk about p is equal to 1, it means then that is the Manhattan distance. Okay, and when this p is tends to infinite, that is called super distance. Okay, so based on the value of p, we get some different kind of distances. Okay, so this is the clustering techniques. Okay, these are the clustering. So these clustering techniques is further divided into three types. One is the hierarchical clustering, and partitional clustering, and Bayesian. Okay, so hierarchical clustering is further divided into two category. One is the divisive clustering algorithm, and another one is the agglomerative clustering algorithm. And now some these clustering algorithms is again further divided into some more categories. So we'll concentrate on this hierarchical clustering and divisive and agglomerative clustering algorithm. So what is hierarchical clustering algorithm? So based on some relationship, we can choose this hierarchical clustering algorithm. So algorithm find the successive clusters using the previously established clusters. Okay, so here is the two approach actually through which we can divide this cluster into two types. One is the agglomerative, that is called bottom up approach, and one another clustering algorithm that is called the divisive clustering algorithm, that is top down clustering algorithm approach. Okay, and in case of agglomerative clustering algorithms, initially the element is separated uh, clusters. Okay, means top down means here suppose that a set and all the cluster is belongs to a single set, and then we can further divide it into many clusters on the basis of their characteristics. Okay, like suppose that we have a number like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Okay, so it's a one single set. Okay, so and again if we want to divide these sets into some part of clusters. So here is the some similarity and dissimilarity between these objects, like some set of even and odd numbers. Okay, so even and odd numbers, like we can say 1, 3, 5 and 7 forms a group. Okay, so these objects have some similarities, and here we can see the 2, 4, 6 and likewise. Okay, so they forms the group. Okay, so from top to bottom we can form the cluster. So such type of approach, that is called the agglomerative clustering approach. And in case of divisive clustering approach, uh, okay, sorry, this is the top down, means the divisive clustering. Sorry, here is some mistakes. That is divisive clustering. And in case of agglomerative clustering approach, each objects have its own cluster. Each objects had its own cluster. Okay, and on the basis of their similar characteristics, we can form a group. Likewise. Okay. Like so on the basis of this, we can form a group. Okay, so here is the bottom up approach. Bottom up approach means we can group together and form a single group. Okay, so this is the two hierarchical clustering algorithm. That is the more about the divisive and agglomerative algorithms. Okay, so how we can compute the distance between the objects? So we can compute through the approximatory matrix. Okay, so what is the rule through which we can compute? By using the Minkowski distance or Manhattan distance and all. Okay, so just go through some example. you just seen. Okay, so here is some set and some values of